What the heck is up, you guys? It's your boy Ace, aka Animated Heroes, here back with another action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the amazing Yamaguchi powered by Revoltech Superman from DC. Let's go ahead and get right into it, starting off with that sexy packaging. Now, one thing I do really love about Revoltech boxes are the fact that they put a whole lot of colors and details into it. I just think that it really makes them pop, and you guys know I'm a sucker for art. So as you guys can see, we've got an image of Superman lined along the side right here. It says Figure Complex Amazing Yamaguchi, powered by Revoltech series number 27, Superman, and sculpted by Yamaguchi Kaiyodo. I believe he deserves credit for that, so I have to say the name. Of course, you got the window packaging where you can see the figure. I really love the blues on this figure for sure. I love that metallic paint. We got Superman right there, some comic book image on the top right there. At the bottom, all the legal stuff. Along the side right here, you actually got an image of Superman looking pretty angry. On this side right here, you got another comic book type image. He looks really young in that image, but I think that's cool. And then of course on the back, you got a ton of poses you can get the figure into, as well as all the accessories. So anyway, let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right into this figure and see what it's about. Now, straight out of the packaging, the first thing I want to say is that I really do enjoy the look of this figure. Revoltech really knows how to diversify their adult figures versus their kid figures. And what I mean when I say that is I've gotten used to buying the My Hero Academia stuff, and with All Might, obviously All Might was really bulky just like this guy, but then you have characters like Todoroki, Bakugo, Deku. Those came out really nice, but they got the proportions right. Now, I noticed that when it comes to doing adult figures, they do like to go pretty much maximum sculpt whenever they do the muscles on these guys, because they just come out like really beefy. And that's fine with me, because it's always about different interpretations, and I really like how they go about theirs. Now, this is giving me more of the new 52-ish art style, something like that. That's what I think when I look at this, but either way, I really do like this design. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a closer look at it. Now, taking a closer look, I think that head sculpt looks fine. It's not my favorite, but it looks okay. I really do like the hair sculpt, though. There is one thing engineering-wise that I'm not a fan of, and I'll go ahead and show that to you guys right now. It's the fact that he pretty much cannot look down. And the reason being is because I don't know why they did this, but they sculpted his neck on like an edge or an angle, and the angle's going up where it should go down. And so when you try to move the head down, it just absolutely does not go. You can move the neck, and that's pretty much the only way you can get him to look forward. But that's it. There's not going to be any looking down, so that kind of sucks whenever you got him in fighting poses and, I don't know, like an enemy's underneath him. If he's fighting like Lex Luthor or Brainiac or something and he flies above him, I don't know. Of course, it will come out of articulation, I'm sure, if you use the torso, but it just kind of sucks that you can't move the head down. Anyway, in terms of the rest of the suit, I really like this, man. It's not just the blue tights. You can see there's actually some sculpt work in here, some line work all throughout the suit, and so it almost gives me like an Injustice vibe also. I don't know how many of you guys have played Injustice. I got a little scuff right there. That kind of sucks. But yeah, I also really like the reds. You've got different color reds. You've got this lighter red right here for the cowl. Then, of course, the logo. I think this is about the same, but then you've got some darker reds as well for the belt and the boots. Just all the way down, you've got sculpt work on this guy, and I like this, man. I really like this a lot. I feel like this is a figure I'm definitely going to have a lot of fun with. It looks good, and even in like vanilla poses, this thing looks good, as I showed earlier. So far, I'm happy with this. Now, when it comes to the height on this figure, as weird as this is to say, it actually feels taller than it is. Like when you're handling this guy, it feels almost like it's McFarlane, which is 7-inch, but as you guys can see to the top of his head, he's only 6.5 inches, which that's perfect because obviously I collect 1/12, but it just feels like a bigger figure than it actually is. But it will fit in scale with 6-inch figures, as I will show later in the size comparisons. Now, in terms of the articulation on this guy, he actually looks up really well, and I think this is why they sculpted the neck like that. It's gonna make it look good when you do have him in those flight poses and everything, even though it does hinder that lower articulation. He does get pretty good tilt. As far as the neck, you can bring it down about that much. So either way, it's still going to look like he's looking forward. Not really much you can do about that. This little cowl is on a hinge right here, so you can move that out of the way however you want. Arms go up about that much, and with those shoulder joints, you can bring his arms all the way in for those punching and flight poses, no problem. He even has a bicep swivel. This is what caught me off guard. Single jointed elbow, and you kind of got to rotate it to get it to look right, but you can bring it in at pretty much all the way. So it gets double jointed range, but it also looks really ugly. So that gapping right there is what I don't like, and there's really no way to like adjust that or hide it. The hands are on a hinge, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, pretty thick hinge also, and so that's good, so you don't have to worry about breaking. You don't get a whole lot of movement out of them, but you definitely get enough. He does have a diaphragm joint that doesn't really go back much, and be careful because that'll pop off like mine just did. That was my fault. I was doing too much. But yeah, he doesn't really go back very much, but he does go forward and look down very well. Like, that's going to help with those looking down poses right there. So even though you can't really get it out of the neck, you do get it out of that lower torso / abdomen area, because this moves very, very well. Top and midsection. The diaphragm is great and the waist is great, and then this floating piece helps hide the gaps, so they did a great job with that. In terms of kicking poses, Superman doesn't really kick, but you can get him to kick all the way if you want. He could kick someone up in the air if you needed him to, like a Mortal Kombat launcher. He does have, oops, I just hit my camera, sorry about that, but he can do the splits completely. He does have a thigh swivel. Oh wow, that's way more than I thought. That knee moves very, very well, but you can't hide this little gapping piece right here. That's my only issue. I don't really like that. I wish it was all connected, but the range is pretty much uncanny. He does have a swivel at the upper boot, and then you can swivel it at the bottom a little bit. Foot goes up that much, down that much. Does get ankle rocker, and he does have toe hinge. So articulation wise, Revoltech just kills it. I really don't think anyone is beating them in articulation. I would say Mafex is keeping up, but you guys know how it works. When it comes to Revoltech, they do sacrifice sculpt for articulation. Mafex is a full-blown balance, so it's up to you which you like more, but I still think this is a good job. Now, when it comes to the accessories on this guy, you don't get any kind of impact or effect pieces, but you do get quite a few hands, quite a few heads, and then something a little bit interesting I'll talk about in a sec. First off, he comes with these two heads, which look pretty much identical. As you can see, I mean, it both just looks like he's looking forward, so they probably could have left one of those out and it had been okay. I would have much rather we gotten like a laser beam effect, but anyway, speaking of laser beam effect, he does come with the laser beam eyes, which that angry face looks really good. Then he comes with these two heads looking in different directions, one to the left, one to the right. I prefer this over the interchangeable eyes, just because I have carpet in my apartment, so yeah, you know how that goes. In terms of hands, he comes with a pair of flight hands, Kamehameha reaching, grabbing style hands, fist hands, a pair of relaxed type hands, or they can be for reaching. He comes with one right pointing hand and then one left grabbing hand, but he doesn't come with anything to hold, so that's a little strange, but still, he comes with quite a few hands, so I'm happy about that. When it comes to the cape, Revoltech, I believe, surprised everyone with this one, because not only do you get their usual plastic cape that I think most people don't like just because of the fact they split into pieces, and this isn't bad because it's two parts, but sometimes it can get real crazy, like the Batman figure. that thing drove me insane. But you also get a wired cape, and this thing's pretty thick. There's very, very thick wire in there, and as you can see, you just pretty much plug it into those ports, and I'll show you guys what that looks like in just a sec. But I think this was a genius option. I believe they probably know that a lot of people have been buying custom capes to put on their figures, and so now that they included it for pretty much the same price we pay for Revoltech figures in the first place, I think that's genius, and it's gonna bring in more people to buy their figures. But what's crazy is they didn't show this in the promo images, so I think that this was probably a last minute decision. I don't know. Now moving on to the plastic cape, to be honest, I probably won't use this because it's definitely not the best looking or functioning. I mean, it kind of just looks like somebody threw something together and threw it on the figure. Now, that's not to trash them. This is their first time doing this, and I'm very appreciative of the fact that they even gave us this. But I don't know. I personally just don't really like this. The cape, it doesn't function in any kind of way that you would want it to, especially if you're someone who loves to pose your figures. Like, it'll blow outward and it'll kind of stay, but in terms of doing more than that, it's not going to happen. You can't get it to bend in or anything like that. It's just going to look weird. I don't know how to explain it, but it just doesn't have the flow of a Mafex cape, or sometimes SHF will get it right. But it just, to me personally, I don't think it looks good, so I won't mess with this. But I do like the fact that they sculpted the logo on the back, or not sculpted, but stitched the logo on the back. They really are trying with this, and so I'm happy about it. Personally, I'm just not a fan. Now moving on to the plastic cape, I will say that I like this look a little bit better. Not a whole lot, but functionality wise, and I think overall, just like in terms of how it looks aesthetically, this is definitely better. It's much more appealing to the eye. The only issue I have is that the logo does not line up. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but when you have the cape sitting flush, if he's turned around, this is kind of how it looks. So I don't know, that was a pretty weird decision. I don't know, cape wise on this guy, I think they pretty much just made some bad choices. I don't know why they didn't just go with a solid red cape. I think that would have made this so much better, because this just doesn't really look all that good. No matter how you pose it, it's going to look weird. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. Now moving on to size comparisons, here he is with some of the Mafex Hush figures. We have him standing next to the Mafex Hush Batman. This is the blue version. We have him standing next to the Mafex Hush Superman and the Mafex Hush Joker. I think he fits fine with them, but proportion wise, they just don't look like they go together. Now I do really like the blue of this Superman more than I do the Mafex version. I really hope that Mafex at some point gives us like a repaint of this guy with these colors. I would be all over that. That would definitely be dope. Here he is standing next to a DC Rebirth, DC Icons Batman, a DC Collectibles Batman. I don't know what the name of this costume is. I'm just going to say classic. And then, of course, a Mattel Robin as well, which I really hope someone gives us an updated, honestly, an import Robin. I would love that so much. Mafex, please come through. Here he is standing next to a Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified. I believe this is the Cobra Infantry. We also have him standing next to his superior, the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball CGI Super whatever Goku, and of course a Marvel Legends PS4/PS5 Gamerverse Spider-Man. Now overall, when it comes to this figure, I gotta say it's a pretty cool Superman figure. Honestly, I have two issues with it. First one is obviously going to be the cape. Now, by now, I'm sure everyone who collects Revoltech figures already knows what to expect when it comes to capes. I don't think people collect these for that reason. I personally do think this one is a little bit worse than the others we've seen, and I mean in terms of Magneto and Batman. just because I don't like how they went about it. It just, neither one that you put on this guy really looks good. I'm sure you could pose it around and make it look nice, but hey, I'm not that good. I'm not Wayne Collectibles or DC Amazing, so I'm not going to be trying to finagle with all of that. Now, the only other issue I have is the chin. Now, as I said earlier, I believe the reason they sculpted the neck that way is for aesthetic purposes and mostly because of flight poses. So there's no gap in the neck whenever Superman is looking up. I don't like the fact that he can't look down, but with all the mobility you have in the midsection, it's definitely going to make up for that. So overall, I would say the best way to experience this figure, if you don't like the capes that come with these, go on eBay, find one that you like, and figure out a way to put it on this guy, because I feel like that would give you a perfect, bulky, beefy, posable Superman that just looks super dynamic. No matter how you pose this guy, he's going to look nice. That's one thing I can say about it. So overall, it's a pretty decent figure. I enjoy it. I do recommend it. It's not one I'm going to be keeping, though. I don't need it in my collection. I am more than fine with my Mafex. Hopefully they make a version that looks more like this in the future. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. Now, guys, I know I've been slacking on the content lately. I do just want to throw this in here real quick. I'm sorry, I've had a lot going on, and if you've been following me on Instagram, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm gonna try to get back in the groove of things. I still have 2 more reviews coming. I've got the Akaza review once it gets here, and then I'm gonna be reviewing the event exclusive Madara. So be on the lookout for those. Honestly, after that, I'll probably take a break again, just because I'm not really back in the groove yet. This was tough to review, I'm not gonna lie. My head was not here, but I hope that you guys still enjoyed it. But anyway, that being said, I hope that you guys did enjoy this video. I just said that. But make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, hit that bell icon to be notified whenever I upload new content, and lastly, follow me on everything you see listed in the description below to keep up with my activity outside of YouTube. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe wherever you are, and bye.